Suffering. Pain's purpose to you. Welcome to day 222 of our Supersize You annual challenge. Now, I was going to do a little rhyme, but I'm not great with jokes or rhyming. But we all suffer. And I'm going to call out right now that I think suffering is bullshit. I think that it's a choice, just like hustling and any other thing that I consider a negative emotion or a pain is optional. We can choose to focus on the pain, or we can choose to focus on the time in between the pain. I had to learn that in my early 20s. And I'll share a story today that I've never shared before. I don't even think I ever told my parents, but it's one that I wasn't suffering on the surface, but I was suffering inside as a little girl. I was in second grade, I think, and I got put into the second reading group. Back in the day, in the olden days, because I am quite aged these days, they had reading groups, and kids were put into groups based on how well they could read. Well, I couldn't read. So here I am, my sister in third grade's in the first reading group, and my sister in first grade's in the first reading group, and I get put in the second reading group. Now, I didn't understand it. My little brain didn't understand it. And I knew there was something different about me, but I didn't think I was stupid. But I started to maybe think I was stupid and that I needed to be in the second reading group. And for Christmas that year, I got a camera. I'd never had a camera before, but I got a camera. And I started looking through that camera, and I realized the world looked way different through the camera than it did when I was just looking at it. And that was my first indication that there was maybe something wrong with my eyes. But I didn't know because I was just a little kid. But I started to focus and be able to read and understand things. I could actually see things if I focused because I pretended I was looking through my camera all the time. And I carried that camera with me everywhere. I couldn't take it to school, but I still used the same technique of thinking about and focusing my mind and my eyes as if I were looking through that camera. And that changed everything for me. Between the beginning of the year and the end of the year, by third grade, I was in the first reading group too, which made me feel a whole lot better because as a kid, I thought I was stupid. And I'm like, my parents didn't ever say anything about it. My teachers didn't say anything about it, but I knew I was in the group of the slower kids when I was in that group. Problem was my brain was always running 100 miles an hour. It's just I couldn't actually physically see. And it wasn't until I was 11 that they figured out I couldn't see anything and that I needed glasses. I actually got contacts at 11. That's how bad my eyes were. So it's amazing the way we see things through the eyes of a child versus the way we look at them after the fact. I guarantee that at the time I was feeling a lot of pain and a lot of comparison and a lot of things that I couldn't even vocalize. But now looking back at it, I'm like, okay, well, now I see where that came from, where that I don't want to ever feel stupid belief comes from. And we need to do that every once in a while. Just take and unpack some of the stuff that we're carrying with us still that we don't even realize we're carrying with us. And I think suffering and pain are a huge indicator of that. Pain to me nowadays, and I've been through a lot of it in my life, I've had 3 really big health challenges throughout my life, at least 3. As a little kid, I got tonsillitis all the time and laryngitis and things. I was one of those kids that loved the taste of penicillin, pink penicillin, which was good because then my daughter loved the taste of pink penicillin too when she got a little bit older. So suffering, pain, what the heck is the purpose for it? And we don't think that it's got a purpose. A lot of times we just feel sorry for ourselves. But the truth is, if we are experiencing pain in any area or aspect of our life, it is like a big red flashing light. It's a warning signal that we need to figure out what's going on with us. A lady posted yesterday about she finally went to the doctor, even though she believes in mostly homeopathic things, because she had such a bad toothache. And I commented that I had to go to the ER one time a few years ago because I had an infected root canal tooth. And my face was swollen up. It was hot. I was super sick and And finally, my son's like, yeah, this has been 3 days now. You're going to the ER. So I went to the ER. They got me through, got a dentist appointment the next day, got the root canal redone. But I could have gotten sepsis or something because of that silly infection in my tooth and my stubbornness for going to the doctor. So I shared that story, and she's like, oh my God, I'm so glad I went to the doctor. Because nobody wants that, the suffering. Now, do we need our face to swell up and to get a bright red infected tooth before we take action to solve a problem and alleviate our suffering? Yeah, probably not. You know, if you've got anything wrong or any signals in your body, we need to start listening to those. I just learned about this stuff not too long ago. I guess I've learned it all along the way, but I didn't see it until recently. I think the best example of turning pain into meaning is by Viktor Frankl when he was in the concentration camps. I think he's got the most profound story about that anybody can read and appreciate. But we need to take that and put it in our own lives. Where are we choosing to suffer? Because I think mostly pain and suffering is a choice. Now, if you would have asked me in my 20s, did I think pain and suffering was a choice? I would have said absolutely not. But I learned from a really bad health experience and health challenges is that nobody's going to come and save you. Nobody was going to come and save me. My doctors, all of them, and that was before they did team practice where they actually looked at you as a whole person. Each one of them individually, and I had 5 specialists I was seeing at the time, told me basically, go home, take these medications that I gave you. I can't do anything more for you. Come back in 6 months. And by about the 3rd doctor, I was like, this is not going to happen. I'm in my 20s. My friends are out having fun and growing and starting their careers. And I'm in a dark room because of debilitating migraine headaches and joint pain and something going on with my kidneys. So I just made a decision. And I think that's what it boils down to is we make a decision how we're going to live and how we're going to show up in the world. And I decided I was not going to be a blob laying in my bed, not able to hardly do anything. And that's when everything started to change. I quit taking all my medications, much to my doctor's dismay. But what I realized by doing that and going cold turkey was that the medications that they were giving me, all of them interacted with my body so badly, they were causing more challenges than whatever was supposedly wrong with my health that they couldn't find, right? They found one chromosome abnormality thing that was like a B27 positive or something. I can't remember what they called it, but I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't tell me anything. That doesn't do anything or mean anything. And I just started to figure out and problem solve myself what I needed to do to get better. And within a few months, I was not in that dark room anymore, and I was rebuilding my life and rejoining the rest of my 20-something friends in creating the life that we wanted. So a couple of things we're going to do today. Number 1, excuse my throat. We are going to cover the O in the SOAP framework. But first, what do we want to do with this today? I challenge you to share one story, one painful story or experience, and what you learned from it in the comments below. Do you think it's hard for me to share a story that I kept to myself for over 5 decades? Actually, yeah, 5 decades, not quite 6. Not that. Oh, no. Well, 2nd grade. So, yeah, 5 decades. I can still say 5 decades. So share one of those. I have so many stories I could share. I could share about my sudden cardiac arrest. I could share about getting fired from a job. I could share about bad business partners and betrayals on a personal and professional level. There's lots of stuff that happens to us that causes us to feel pain. But guess what? Pain doesn't generally last forever. It lasts until we are willing to look at what the source of it is and the reason that we're feeling the pain. And once we find that root cause and that source, we can address that, and then the pain goes away and we're left with the lesson. The trick with a lot of things in our life is that we just need to get the lesson. We need to see it and understand it and internalize it, and it alleviates so many other things. All right, O in the SOAP framework stands for options. So we need to keep in mind that that there are infinite possible ways to solve anything, to come up with solutions. We are limited really only by our imagination or the imaginations of the people and the resources we're willing to tap into to help us solve that problem. I've learned that when I decide I'm going to solve a problem, it's done. I'm not sure how it's going to happen. I'm not sure when it's going to happen, But when I just decide, it usually happens way sooner than if I'm hemming and hawing about it. So what are we going to do for an option brainstorming tool today? Of course, the 10-3-1 tool. You're going to brainstorm at least 10 possible ways to fill the gap between where we are spiritually and where we want to be spiritually. The stories that we told ourselves and investigated yesterday. We came up with a paragraph of where we are spiritually and then where we want to be. And we are going to start brainstorming options of how do we get from where we are to where we want to be. Because you already know. A lot of times we look to people outside of us to give us the answers, but the truth is everything we need is already inside of us. We just have to trust that we have the answers and then let ourselves see them. So brainstorm at least 10 ways to fill that gap, or to start to fill that gap. There might not be just one way that you can do that. You might have to do 20 things. You might have to do 2 things. You might have to do 8 things. You might have to work on that spiritual gap for a while because you haven't done anything spiritually for a while. You've never considered why you're here, what your purpose is, what you can contribute to the rest of the world. The vast majority of people on the planet have never done that. All right, that is our topic for today, and our 2 action items a couple times during the month will not kill us. They'll actually make us stronger. If I can help you in any way, reach out and ask. Otherwise, have an awesome day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow. Thanks, Dave, for commenting. I have to get my magnifying glass to see it, but I'll respond after I do my videos this morning. Well, make it an amazing day, and I'll, of course, see you tomorrow. Bye.